Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Valentine's Day to all the lovers out there. For those who are watching this live and watching the replay, if you guys can hear me, if you guys can see me too, when it comes to this, podcast, feel free to let me know as well when it comes to with that. So, oh, my door just opened out of the blue, so forgive me on that too. And especially for those, starting late too. I was just really having like an important family call too when it comes to with someone that I've just wanted to just reach out and, show support when it comes to with that. And but other than that though, happy Valentine's Day to all the people out there who are watching this live and watching our replay too. And as you guys could see too, when it comes to with that, give me one second. It's okay, Ricky. It's okay. Yeah, so I got Ricky with me. He's on the bed. He can't see him, but he's, right there listening. So but I digress when it comes to with this podcast too, and especially when it comes to with this particular day as well. Even after Friday the 13th, Jason Day too, or should I say Jason Voorhees Day too, which is really interesting this year too. Like Friday the 13th was yesterday, now it's Friday the 14th. I mean Saturday the 14th. It's Valentine's Day, so it's like, what the hell? Back to back. I'm not sure if Friday the 13th is like a holiday. I'm not sure, but you know, I digress when it comes to with that, and especially for anyone who's just really watching this podcast too. So, I'm just really want to, show appreciation to all the people out there who are watching this live and watching the replay and really just introduce myself real quick. My name is James Harris. I'm a, well-known content creator on, social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all that too. And so you probably see me in other places too, like on gaming platforms with the Justice Crew on GTA Live, as Agent J, and all that too. That's fully me, 100%. If you see Agent J on the Justice channel too, when it comes to with that, so that's me full in action. Not trying to brag anything. I just really want to, just give credit where credit's due when it comes to the Justice Crew. Shout out to them, and even just with the people that I've collabed with too over the years as well when it comes to with that. And I'm an intimacy, relationship, and wellness coach too. Even though like I have like a lot of life coaching certifications, it's just like how I want to identify myself as an intimacy, relationship, and wellness coach because those are the actual like, qualities that when it comes with my work, I like to help people come together, make beautiful connections, and to really just create holistic approaches when it comes to with wellness, with essential oils and staying hydrated and uplifting your energy, releasing energy, stagnant energy, movement and all that kind of stuff too when it comes to with that. And I'm fully embracing that kind of title too, being an intimacy, relationship, and wellness coach too in all sorts of ways too when it comes to with that. Even if I look kind of beat up right now too when it comes to with that because um, I'm in my own home and just really want to be comfortable. Even though I could dress up, if I wanted to as well. But since I'm not doing anything as much when it comes to with that, it's like, I'll just, be comfortable in my own space and everything like that too when it comes to just connect with you guys and just really doing that, being authentic, genuine, and transparent too when it comes to with that. So without further ado, when it comes to with this podcast might be not might be really short or really long depending on what I want to share with you guys too. And I really want to share some powerful stuff when it comes to with Valentine's Day and with intimacy in general too. And when it comes to with the topics of intimacy and relationships and wellness, and really just integrating all of that too when it comes to with those topics. If you're opening to listening, if you're just doing stuff around the house or anything like that too, when it comes to with this podcast. So without further ado, let's get on with it, shall we?
Let's get on with it!
So when it comes to you with this podcast, and for those who are just popping in and saying hello and all that too, big shout out to you guys as well. And today, especially just waking up this morning and just really contemplating like when it comes to the Valentine's Day, because I know like with the history of Valentine's Day, it's pretty, gruesome when it comes to with that. But I'm not gonna like share the full history details of Valentine's Day. I really want to just get to like the really important stuff when it comes to with intimacy. And especially with that first part too, when it comes to with intimacy. Not just like, romance or having sex with your partner or anything like that, but also really just like self-love and self-care and self-acceptance and those kind of powerful things too. And especially just really, when it comes to with practicing intimacy, it can really just come in many forms. It's not all about just really getting your rocks off or just, having like a thrill, even though that's part of it too when it comes to intimacy and just really experiencing that with yourself and with your partner too that you're dating or if you're in a serious relationship with. And just like for those who are just listening and really just, watching this live and watching the replay, I just really want to share how important it is to really just, practicing intimacy, but also practicing, being present. And I really want to just really talk about that too when it comes to with like, being present when it comes to with being intimate as well. And not just like, not talking about sex or anything like that, but also when it comes to with acceptance and with really just being present with yourself when it comes to with celebrating Valentine's Day too, because there's people out there too, and you probably just fit in this kind of category to where you're just single if you're going through stuff, and if you're just like wherever that stage in your life right now when it comes to if you're single, if you're if you're in a situationship, or if you're whatever too, if you're in a relationship, if you're married, all that, it's really good to really just recognize and really just being present with yourself to where you're at right now too in your life, and to really just like if for people who are really just going through it when it comes to with those challenges in life, it's in your environment with other people and all sorts of stuff too, just really practicing really just being present with yourself. And you can really just practice this in so many ways, and simply by just really like relaxing your mind, really just being with your body, and just really being present with yourself too. I know that sounds like easier said than done, and sometimes believe me too. And because even as a man too, when it comes to with that, just like practicing being present, it's like what like what are you talking about? Because with men we're mostly logical, and sometimes we're mostly in our brains like 99% of the time or 100% of the time too. Like kind of like
The
this.
fuck are you out of your damn mind?
It's like it's like oh shit, like, we're always in our heads sometimes. And, I'm not trying to like generalize too when it comes to with that. I'm really just being genuine and real with you guys too when it comes to with that. And so when it comes to with just being like in your head all the time, I can relate to that because usually like in a man's nature and really just, studying about nature too with shamanism. And it's like, oh man, like I'm always in my head all the time. And just really practicing being present and really just relaxing your mind, being with your body. It's a practice, it's a process. And especially if you're going through certain stuff, if you've, grieving the loss of a loved one, if I'm saying that correctly, grieving the loss of a loved one or, situations or money or anything like that too, when it comes to with life, just really being present with yourself and how you're feeling within your body, with your nervous system, with your subtle body. It could be the scariest fucking thing ever. And, I've been there many times when it comes to with that. And I really want to hold space for you, for anyone who's just listening and watching this podcast to do the same for yourself. And even just with that too, and just really celebrating Valentine's Day, just really bringing that loving presence to yourself too as a person, no matter if you're single, if you're dating, or if you're in a serious relationship, or if you're married too, whichever too, just really practicing being present with yourself can really just be the most powerful experience ever. And in so many ways too, when it comes to with that. Because even like, with life and especially like with how the seasons are where things change over time, like how the leaves change too when they fall, they crumble, they grow again too when it comes to it that when the weather is colder then it gets warmer and it gets colder again too when it comes to it that with the seasonal change as well. It's kind of like that too, just really like embracing that, with that presence too. when it comes to with yourself as a person, no matter if you're a man or a woman too, even though we're built different, which is totally fine as well. And just really, embracing that too. And especially when it comes to a Valentine's Day, just really, you know, um, really just celebrating that in your own way too, when it comes to with that. Not just like in your own ways too, if you're single, if you're, you know, and all that, but also if you're dating somebody or if you're in a serious relationship or if you're married too, just really practicing being present with each other or with your partners too. It can really just be the most powerful experience ever. And especially not just like with your partners too, when it comes to with that, but also with your friendships, with people that you care about, like you can, who you consider like your tribe, your family per se too, or even your immediate family as well, when it comes to with your blood relatives or your spirit relatives too, when it comes to with your soul tribe. So I just really want to, share that too for anyone who's just listening and watching this live and watch the replay is just really, being present with yourself and really just being present, just practicing that powerful form of intimacy when it comes to just really being accepting of who you are too when it comes to with that. And especially when it comes to like with practicing that loving presence too, when it comes to with practicing intimacy, because it's not all about just like feeling good or just experiencing pleasure, which is totally not a bad thing too. But also at the same time, you can really just transmute that loving presence into so many other ways too when it comes to with that. And I really want to share this too with you guys as well. And especially when it comes to like really creating boundaries in your life too, like with other people, for example, like if you're deep in your core, if you're really just being present with yourself, you know that you're a genuine person, you're a loving person, you have a good heart, you got good, healthy values, and you really just want to do good in the world, and you like to share, and you like to really just be loving too, and not trying to explain myself, for example. I'm just really speaking in general terms, but at the same time, like with people and human nature especially, it's so complicated because we're not everybody's preference, but we are somebody's preference. And not just like talking about with romance, but also with acquaintances and friendships too, and family as well. And just really creating healthy boundaries with people that you care about, and especially with people that you associate with, that you have a friendship with, or if you're blood related to as well. If you're related to, genetically and also romantically as well, it could be the most powerful thing you could do. Because sometimes too, there are days where people, will test us. We might test them in certain ways too. If we're like, we want to just like, share, but then they don't feel like they don't want to just like share back too, or if they feel like they're having like a bad day or other things too. It's like, I get that, just because it's like you never know what's happening in people's lives. They might be going through certain things, they might be going through a breakup, they might be going through financial challenges or anything like that too. When it comes to with those kind of, you know, situations. And yeah, life is, you've heard this before many times. Life is tough as it is, and it's not easy to deal with too when it comes to life. But when it comes to it just being practicing that loving presence and really just creating boundaries with that too, integrating that, when it comes to with that practice and really just integrating that in your life to where you can really just say, hey, you know what? Like, I get it. Like, if you're going through stuff, when it comes to a certain people that that you're friends with, or with family, or with your romantic partners, but you don't have to really just take that kind of like disrespect if people will just like disrespect you in a certain way or have like a misunderstanding or anything like that too. It's really good to really just creating healthy boundaries with people. And especially when it comes to with yourself, to where if you really just recognize like if you want to accept this kind of behavior in your life or not, just really creating that kind of boundary within yourself first and foremost, with your nervous system too, because with our nervous system, it's like really connected to our brains. It really just has the whole effect within our body too, because with our thoughts, our mind create thoughts, our thoughts create emotions, and it really just affects our body. You probably know this too when it comes to with that for any coaches out there who are listening. And just like getting back to with boundaries and just really practicing that in a really healthy way to really just, creating healthy boundaries within yourself to where you can really just ask yourself, like, if you feel like you kind of like, you know, kind of like, experience any kind of like disrespect or weird behavior from other people or anything too when it comes to with that, if it's good, if it's weird, if it's bad or ugly, evil or whatever too, and just really asking yourself, like, do I really want this in my life right now? Do I want these kind of people in your life to where they just really disrespect you like that? Even though like someone could really just come from a genuine and healthy space of just like sharing and just really, be themselves and really just doing that in a really healthy way to really just create those kind of boundaries too. And just because, like, again, like we're not everybody's preference, we might even do one simple thing that'll set someone off too. And it's just like, when it comes to with that, and you really just gotta ask yourself, like, huh, do I really want to kind of tolerate this in my life right now? Just really, creating that kind of boundary within yourself and especially with other people that you associate with, that you have a friendship with, that you are related to and that you have a romantic connection with as well. And just really like recognizing that, do I really want to kind of tolerate that kind of behavior? And just really creating those kind of healthy boundaries too when it comes to with that. And even just like, with communication and sometimes with like with communication, it's really good to really just communicate, get your point across and speak your truth and everything else. But also at the same time, it's really good to really just listen as well, because listening is a really healthy form of communication where you can really just listen to a different perspective, even if it feels uncomfortable. Just really listening to a different perspective, especially if you're, trying to solve certain issues that needs a like a solution to when it comes to with that. And just really like communicate and really just a way of communicating just by listening and really just being quiet and really just being present with yourself to allow the other person to really just speak their truth. And then when you have the time to do that too, let them, hold space for you to really just speak your truth as well, to really just, have those kind of conversations, those uncomfortable conversations or anything too when it comes to it that. And if people kind of like, when it comes to that communication, if they don't kind of like let you speak your truth, it's really kind of comes back to like boundaries where it's like, hey, do I really want to kind of accept this kind of behavior from this person too when it comes to with that? And just really recognizing that too from a healthy space and especially practicing intimacy and especially not just on Valentine's Day, but like in any day in general too, to where you can really just recognize like, oh, maybe it's like, when it comes to this kind of behavior from this person, if they really are projecting their kind of like hatred or unhealthy energy towards me too in an unhealthy way, in a weird way. And it's kind of like, do I really want to accept that kind of behavior? Just really creating that kind of boundary within yourself and with other people to where you really just make that powerful choice. And it's really up to you guys to really just, make that choice when it comes to a certain people in your life too. And especially when it comes to with you know, practicing that loving presence, really just creating that kind of like intimacy when it comes to with just creating boundaries and having healthy communication with yourself and with people that you know that you care about, family, friends, romantic partners, and just really like asking yourself like, do I really want to like accept this and really just asking for consent to when it comes to it that not just like with not just with other people but with yourself, first and foremost, and it's like, you know what? Maybe I won't like tolerate this kind of behavior from this person anymore. Or if it's something like good, for example, like if you want someone is asking you like, hey, do you want to do this and that at this certain day? And it's really like, the ball's in your court when it comes to that consent. You really have the option to say yes or to say no to when it comes to with that. And so when it comes to like, with consent, just really like asking yourself, like, is it a hell yes or a hell no? So just really being genuine and transparent with yourself when it comes to with certain things, that you want to tolerate and what you won't tolerate when it comes to with that. And especially like with intimacy too, like, with Valentine's Day, especially for people who are single or really just going through challenges as well. Or even if you're dating somebody, if you're in a serious relationship, or if you're married too, when it comes to it, that intimacy comes in many forms. People can really just celebrate Valentine's Day by just playing their favorite video game. Going online, playing their favorite video game, whether it be like GTA Online, Tekken 8, or Ace Combat, or whatever too, when it comes to it that. Or they just like to, have like a simple day, just really, be with their fur babies, celebrating like certain things too, and just have like a normal day. Or if they want to just hang out with someone that they really just care about, it could be like a close friend, it could be like a family member, or it could be with their romantic partners per se too, in a healthy way. It doesn't really have to be all about like, experiencing pleasure when it comes to a sex or anything like that too. Intimacy can really just be the most simple things too. Even by just like cooking something or making artwork, or it could be with anything too. When it comes to it, that I can go in so many ways when it comes to with these examples. But as like an intimacy, relationship, and wellness coach, it's like, just really finding those holistic or creative and holistic and natural approaches to like wellness and intimacy is a really powerful thing too, because we all want to feel good, and we want to, be healthy, staying hydrated, have our bank accounts full with money, and healthy connections with our families and friends and our environment and all sorts of stuff too, which is, you know, in the ways we all want that, and sort of in our own sort of way too in our own lives. And there's nothing wrong with that, having those kind of desires. And hell, even I do too when it comes to with that, just saying like, how I do want to just like, put myself out there when it comes to with my content and services and business ideas, and really just go for it too, because life is so precious. And I've learned this time and time again, when it comes to with that, just like when it comes to with with life, like time is precious. Once that time is gone, it's gone for good. And how you can really just practicing that loving presence, just really being honest with yourself, and really just being gentle with yourself too, to where you can really just create healthy boundaries and communicate when it comes to with your desires and goals, and finding solutions to problems with certain people, or even just practicing intimacy in this really creative and powerful ways too when it comes to with that. So, you know, yeah. And Shell Book, what's up? And she says, absolutely, we all need love and connection in a healthy way. May it be romantic friendship. Yes, shout out to you. Yes, yes. Shout out to my friend Cecily. That's absolutely 100%. You are spot on about that too. And just really like with that love and connection in a healthy way, there's nothing wrong with that. And like how you can really just do that just by practicing healthy boundaries and communication and intimacy too in the healthy ways, can really just do that too. So 100%, definitely. And especially too when it comes to it that with kinks, with sexuality. And I know like people like certain things when it comes to exploring your own sexuality, when it comes to it that, which I, might explain a little bit more too when it comes to it that. And also with love languages as well. Like, people like words of affirmation and receiving gifts, spending quality time, acts of service, physical touch too, when it comes to with that. And especially with that too, when it comes to with like love languages, and people have a certain way about love languages. We're all built different, we have different values, we like to experience different things, which is totally fine as well. And it's just like with love languages too, and especially when it comes to like with connections with people that we care about, with our friends and with our family, and with our romantic partners too, just really like recognizing that what we want to experience from them too, in the appropriate setting, of course. And like if you wanted to spend quality time with your pets and with your family and with your friends and with your romantic partner, that's cool too. If you want to experience physical touch with your romantic partner, especially in the most creative ways too, when it comes to it, that like whether you want to practice, and then a tantric healing too, when it comes to it, that, or other ways too. Like you don't really have to practice tantra to experience intimacy. Like tantric or tantra per se too is a really like a powerful spiritual personal development practice too. I'm still learning about tantra as well. So for any tantra, enthusiasts and practitioners out there too, or gurus, or I should say, and I hate saying guru too because I'm totally against the guru culture, which is another topic for another day too. But like really just like practicing tantra and really just practicing tantric healing too, and it's like a really always a powerful way to really just practicing loving presence within yourself and with people that you care about too when it comes to with that, because tantra is more than just sexuality. It's all about like practicing loving presence and intimacy in a whole deeper level too when it comes to with that. And so just really getting back to that when it comes to with the love languages as well. Even like people like to receive gifts, and it doesn't have to be anything like expensive. It could be just by simply, like a simple drink or simple like item too. It could be like, hey, I thought of this, when it comes to just making you a drink or making you pasta, or even just like, receiving gifts. It could even just be digital as well if you're playing like a game or if you're role playing too when it comes to it that. And so even in your plants or nature, spending time in nature is so insights into true. Nature can really just do that in so many ways too, and especially just practicing intimacy within yourself, practicing that loving presence. That's so true. Yeah, and especially like now that that's Shell book, Cecily. Now that you mention that too, when it comes to with just you know connecting with nature, and connecting with nature is a really powerful way to really just get to know yourself too, and especially with shamanism as well. It's just really all about just really understanding the nature of things, like Mother Nature, the plants, the trees, human nature, animals nature, and all that. And it's just like, even just like with the plants in nature, you can really just learn so much by just being connecting with them too, especially like if you're earthing, putting your bare feet in the dirt and the sand and the water. And it's really powerful stuff where you can really just connect with nature in a really intimate and powerful way too, especially just practicing that loving presence as well. If that makes sense to anyone who's just watching this live and watching a replay too, when it comes to with this podcast. So yeah, spending time with nature, and especially if you're at the beach, if you're in the forest, in a safe area, or just like anywhere too, like, you know, nature is a powerful teacher. It could scare the hell out of you, and it can really just empower you at the same time. So what you just said there, Cecily, spot on, spot on too. And not just me just trying to glaze or anything like that. That is really spot on stuff right there. So just really like getting back to like when it comes to like spending like quality time and receiving gifts, and even like with words of affirmation too. Like affirmations are really powerful too, because it really does have that kind of effect on our nervous system and on our subtle body too when it comes to with that. So when it comes to like with words of affirmation, can really just be a powerful way for any of us to really just like, huh, even you can really just say that to yourself, like saying like an affirmation, like, just really like sitting with yourself and just say like, hey, I love, this part about me too. I am awesome. I am amazing. You know, those kind of affirmations too. Those are like kind of like a generic example, but really creating like a affirmation, or really creating words of affirmation can really just rewrite your cognitive too. And especially within your nervous system as well, which is really connected to our minds as well. With our nervous system, our sympathetic nervous system, our regular nervous system, and all that too. So when it comes to with that, and especially with words of affirmation, because when we listen to words, it really does have that kind of effect in our nervous system. Especially if we're consuming certain content, whether we're listening to music, or if we're watching videos, or if it's a combination of both, or if we're even with our senses too, for just like, listening and watching too, listening to certain words and how it really affects our nervous system and our subtle body. It really can really just have an effect. And even just like with words of affirmation, and just really like recognizing that can really just be powerful. And especially if you're, if it's just like if you have like challenges, just really saying good things about yourself in a really healthy way, just creating words of affirmation, especially if you want to write it in a journal, or if you just really want to just do that too, just visualize as well when it comes to with that, just really meditating and visualizing like, huh, how can I create, really like healthy words of affirmation today too, especially just writing it in your journal to really just help to really just change your, mindset about certain things, how you feel about yourself and about life in general too when it comes to with that. It's really powerful stuff once you really just do your own research and really just doing that in a really powerful way too. And so when it comes to with that, and it's just like too when it comes to, with intimacy and really just practicing that loving presence with yourself and with other people that you care about and in your environment, it can really just take you far in life too. And especially when it comes to like with creating boundaries, recognizing what we will tolerate, what we won't tolerate from other people, and in general too, it's like really powerful to really just integrating that when it comes to just really practicing that loving presence. And especially when it comes to just communicating with that, not just with your voice, but also with your actions too, just by listening to your nervous system. If you feel like, like someone really just wronged you the wrong way, it makes you feel weird, and really just practicing that loving presence to really just recognize, like, hey, something is going on, and really just really practicing, just really recognizing what your nervous system is trying to tell you, just really relaxing your mind, really being present with your body, and really just recognize, like, hey, something doesn't feel right. Just really practicing that loving presence to really just being present with yourself, to really just recognize what's going on and really allow them to feel what you're feeling, investigate in that too, and to really just nurture yourself, like the rain method too. Yeah. And so when it comes to with that, and with the let's see, the rain method too, and just really like recognizing what's going on, allowing to feel what you're feeling, investigating that, and to nurture yourself can really just be powerful in so many ways too, especially when it comes to just practicing that loving presence, in your life and how you can really just apply that with yourself and with other people. It could be with your friends, with your family, it could be with, your environment too when it comes to with that and just really doing your best to really just practicing that in your own way. Because as a coach, I can really just explain how you can really just practice that, but I'm not going to tell you how you should practice that too. I'm not gonna say, hey, practice it like how I practice it. I'm not gonna do that. Fuck that. Really just like I really want to encourage people to really just practice it in your own way too. Really just be your own, coach per se too, and really just being your own guide. Like, hey, how can I just, practicing that loving presence in my life today? Just really creating boundaries within myself and especially with other people and really just communicate that in healthy ways and to really just asking consent like, hey, do I want to experience this or not? And to really just practice in intimacy in so many ways too when it comes to it that, not just by, want to hook up with somebody, but also to really just enjoy the simple things too. So um yeah, like I don't know much else to say too when it comes to with that. Hopefully that made sense to anyone who's just really listening to this and watching this live and watching a replay. And especially for those who are, who have partners too when it comes to with that. I'm the last person to talk about having a partner because I'm a single guy. I'm gonna be 38 in the next couple of months, even though I've had relationships in the past, but being the intimacy and relationship coach too, I love talking about relationships. I listen to podcasts about it all day. Cecily, you can really just attest to this too, just because I talk about this topic a lot, and especially when it comes to wellness too, like finding holistic approaches to like personal growth and self care, how to regulate your nervous system, how to support your subtle body, your energetic body, relaxing your muscles and all that stuff too, with Mother Nature's tools, essential oils, molecular hydrogen, rich water, and all that too. So yeah, it's like, when it comes to me being an intimacy, relationship, and wellness coach, I have a lot of stuff I can really just, for people to really just to help them on their, journey. And also for them to really just do something too when it comes to like you know, financial freedom as well, which is a totally, new thing for me too. Even just like listening to that as well. And especially when it comes to like with just providing people the opportunity for them to really just support themselves, to really just, to support themselves to where they can really just do the things that they want to do in life, to really spend more time with their families, more time to really just take care of their, nervous system, take care of their soul body, to really just hydrate themselves, to really just pursue their dreams, to learn more about themselves sexually, mentally, spiritually, and all that too. So, yeah, this is thank you for sharing. I appreciate your openness and realness. Thank you. Yeah, same to you. Shout out to the show book, aka Cecily. Hope I can say your name too. I don't want to put all your business out there too. So shout out to you and shout out to the people who are listening and watching this live and watching the replay. With me being a genuine and transparent person, I have nothing against you guys. And it's just like I like to really just be genuine and transparent as much as I can too, because I'm the kind of person who's really just, in your face, but I'm really genuine about it too when it comes to with that. So I don't have any kind of like ill will towards anybody too when it comes to with that. And I'm really putting this on the internet as well. I'm a really genuine and transparent person. I let my actions speak as much as my words too when it comes to with that. So, I just really want to put that out there too for people who have that kind of misunderstanding about me too when it comes to with that. And people want to come at me weird too. I'm not gonna, go against you. I mean, I'm not gonna let you put me down, but I'm not gonna like, talk shit or anything like that too. I'm just gonna ignore you too. So I'm just gonna, let you guys know about that. If people want to come at me sideways or act weird towards me or disrespect me or anything like that too, it's like, you know what? It is what it is, and I'm just gonna let you be. So yeah, but anyways, to all the people out there who support me too, I have nothing but love for you guys. And you know this too when it comes to it, because I always like to support you on your healing journey, on your spiritual journey, on your financial journey too, when it comes to it that. And I will still be there for you guys too, no matter what. Even if like YouTube will be gone in the next couple of years. I'm not trying to say that will happen, but who knows? So when it comes to with that, and yeah, and it's um just really practicing that too, and just really like connect with you guys. And it's really like in my life, it's like, just really doing this stuff for you guys, being an intimacy, relationship, and wellness coach, and really just creating content for you guys to really just, and holding space for you guys to be yourselves and just sharing your feelings and opinions and thoughts about certain things. Even if we like disagree or agree to some degree, that is totally fine with me because, when it comes to with people, you guys have your own personalities, your opinions, your values, and I really do appreciate that, and especially if it comes from a healthy space. And I really want to create that for you guys too, or for anyone who's new to my channel, and for those who are just stumbling upon this podcast for the first time as well, and wondering who the hell is this guy? This muscly guy wearing tank top and all that, and got his hair all fuzzy a little bit, kind of somewhat, fashionable, kind of rough looking kind of stuff. I kind of digress too. So it's like when it comes to with that, and I'll still be there for you guys too as a collective and supporting you guys on your financial journey and your healing journey too, spiritual journey, wellness journey, however you guys want to call it too. Any kind of journey in your life right now too, because like again, life is precious. Our time is limited and it's really precious too at the same time, because once that time is gone, that time is gone for good and you can't get that back. So that's something that I've learned at a really young age. If you really just think about it, in my 20s and 30s, it's like, man, even talk with my dad and even talk with my mom about it too. God bless her soul, and just really connect with my mom's energy because I really do sense her every day. Even when I look at her pictures and like that, she's watching me like a hawk right now. She's probably watching me as we speak. So it's just when it comes to it that, and it's I just really want to share that too. But hopefully with the information that I share with you guys too really made sense. I hope it really just we gain something from this as well when it comes to with this podcast. And especially for Valentine's Day too. If you want to just like whatever kind of plans that you have when it comes to a Valentine's Day, even if it's the most difficult day right now for you too, I totally get that. If you gain something from it, if you feel like you laughed or if you learned something new or something valuable too, or if you got angry. I mean, I can't, you know, control how you react to me too, but I really, from me coming from a genuine and transparent place, I'm just gonna keep doing that. And if people have a problem with that, that's on them because I'm not gonna, you know, project and really put other people down just for my own sake too. I'm not gonna do that. Fuck that. So when it comes to with that, and you know, for those who are watching this live and watching the replay too, and I said this a lot too when it comes to with that. And yeah, thank you for really just being who you are. And also too, when it comes to with that, I'm not sure if people are open to like a oracle or tarot reading too, but I want to pull some cards for the collective just for Valentine's Day too, because I got like 3 decks on hand right now too when it comes to it. That got the Elemental Oracle deck right here, this beautiful pink deck too. When it comes to with these like mystic colors right here. And plus, I got the Hidden Desires card too, which is really connected to sexuality and intimacy and all that too. Or should I say intimacy and relationships and sexuality, which is I'm have to be careful too when it comes to with this deck. But also at the same time, I've been really using my other deck too when it comes to like, the spirit within tarot too. So I got my tarot deck too, which is kind of interesting. I'm more of an oracle card guy, but when it comes to using tarot, it's fun too. So I like using this deck, and yeah, it's cool stuff. So I'm gonna pull, 3 cards for the collective. If these messages resonate with you, or if they don't resonate with you, that is totally fine, and that's your choice too. When it comes to with that, I'm just truly sharing, connecting with the universe, universal energy, and just really just sharing too for the collective. For anyone who's just watching this too. So let's see. Let's shuffle this deck too. When it comes to with. So let's see. So messages for the collective for Valentine's Day. For Valentine's Day. For people who are watching this. Thing you want to share for the people who are watching. Mm. Mm. Oh, that's interesting. Let me shuffle this again. This card's just flopping all over the place. Let me check this. All right, let's try that again. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Interesting. And now, what's the last message for the collective? So what's the message for the collective? Okay, so I got some powerful messages for the collective, and just really feeling that too when it comes to it, the energy. Just really asking the universe, like, oh, what can you share for Valentine's Day for people who are watching this podcast too, and for those who are busy, just doing their own thing, having Valentine's Day, having fun with their partners or loved ones too. which is totally fine as well when it comes to with that. I'm going to share these really powerful messages too. If they resonate with you when it comes to with these particular messages, you're more than welcome to share your feelings and opinions and thoughts about these messages at any time as well, especially if you're watching a replay. So without further ado, when it comes to with what I'm about to share, so for this message, for anyone who really just gravitates towards this one, is to really just making things equal too when it comes to with that. And it's kind of like when it comes to it, the equator, and it's kind of like if you're looking at this image, it's like, it's like, huh, does this represent like the masculine and the feminine? And just like really just making it equal, like really just finding that center, that balance too, when it comes to with your masculinity and your femininity as well as a person, no matter if you're a man, if you're a woman, and all that too, when it comes to with this message, and just really doing your best to really just find that balance within yourself as a person, to really just find that balance with your femininity and with your masculinity as well, or with your good side and with your evil side, or with your yin and yang, however you want to call it too, when it comes to with this message. And just really doing that for yourself for Valentine's Day, or just like in general too, or any other day too, when it comes to with this message. And just like for those who love to have the more fun side of life when it comes to with intimacy and connecting with your partners, when it comes to with your guys' own sexuality and all that. And just like when it comes to new pictures, and just really doing that in a healthy way and an appropriate way, of course, too, when it comes to with this message. And I'm not trying to promote anything weird or nothing like disrespectful or disgusting or anything like that. But when it comes to like with couples and people who like to experience intimacy with their partner per se too, no matter if they're a man or if they're a woman too, just really taking new pictures and really just asking for consent if they're okay with that, just really showing their body and really just showing your body to with your partner too in a really, sacred space too when it comes to with that. So when it comes to with this picture and just like with new pictures. And I know it's kind of wild thing to say too when it comes to with this message, but just really like for those who are in a relationship with their partner, and if they want to just express how much they are attracted to their partner with their bodies too when it comes to with that, and if you want to just have fun just doing that, just really taking new pictures if they really are open to it, but just always ask for consent and really just communicating with that too before just really taking action. So I just really want to address that for those who are couples and for those who want to explore the wild side of life and really just want to role play and have fun doing some spicy stuff too when it comes to it, just taking new pictures and all that. Just really asking for consent first and foremost, and really just, if they say yes, that's cool. And really just, if they say no, really honor that as well when it comes to with this message too. And with the last message too that I have for you guys is really all about the high priestess. So it's kind of like, when it comes to with the high priestess too, just really coming to that place too when it comes to with your feminine energy too. And I'm really getting that feeling of that too when it comes to with the high priestess. So just really coming to your femininity side to your feminine side when it comes to just practicing that loving presence, that, when it comes to with creating boundaries and communicating with that, and just really asking for consent and really just practicing intimacy in the most powerful ways too. And there's nothing wrong with connecting with your femininity as well. It's a really like a powerful way for all of us to really just practicing that loving presence that we all have within, to really just say like, hey, what do I want to experience today when it comes to with that? And what do I want to tolerate and don't want to tolerate too when it comes to with that? And just really asking yourself that too, whether you're single, if you're in a relationship, if you're a man or woman too, when it comes to with that, just really embracing that feminine side of you too, when it comes to with the high priestess as well. And just really saying, embracing that metaphorically too, and literally too, for those who want to embrace that as well, when it comes to with this message. So when it comes to with these messages, I'm about to share them one more time before I wrap things up here too, when it comes to with this podcast. So just really find that balance within yourself with your, feminine and masculine energy, with your good side and evil side, with your yin and yang, when it comes to with this message. And if you want to just have fun for Valentine's Day too, if you want to just, appreciate your partner's bodies and really just doing that in a really creative and consensual way too. Just really taking new pictures as well, just really asking for consent when it comes to with this too. Just if they are okay with that, if they're not okay with that, just really honoring their boundaries when it comes to with that too. When it comes to if you want to just appreciate your partner's bodies and all that powerful stuff too when it comes to with this message. And just like with the last message too, which is really connected to the high priestess. So just really embracing that and really embracing your feminine side too, to where you can really just practicing that loving presence within yourself, to where you can really just ask yourself like what you want to tolerate and what you won't tolerate when it comes to with people, within yourself, with your environment, etc. too, when it comes to with that. So hopefully that makes sense to anyone who's just listening and watching this live and watching the replay. Sometimes with tarot, sometimes I know what I'm saying, sometimes I don't. I just let things flow too when it comes to with that. So it's kind of like, if these messages resonate with you, and even the things that I'm sharing too on this podcast as well, you're more than welcome to share your feelings and opinions and thoughts about these messages too at any time as well. And especially to the decks that I'm using too, especially with the Hidden Desires deck too, which is my recent one too. It's really like connected to like intimacy, relationships, and sexuality. It's the perfect deck for me. I know it's could probably be like, different for most people. They're not comfortable with that, which is totally fine. I respect people's boundaries when it comes to it that. But with this deck, comes with that awesome black bag too, which is totally sick. So, but anyways, when it comes to with that, again, thank you for watching this podcast and happy Valentine's Day to all the people out there who are just, in relationships, for those who are single, for those who are dating, for those who are in relationships, who are married too, when it comes to with that. May you guys continue to practice intimacy in a really powerful way with that loving presence with yourself, with your partner too, with your family, with your friends, with your environment, with your pets, the elements, the trees, all that powerful stuff too. In the most healthiest ways, of course, too, when it comes to that. I'm just gonna say that out there too for those who are just really, listening to this podcast. And if people have like a certain problem with that too, when it comes to with that, they can just, embrace this message.
Shut up, bitch!
Or just say this.
Shut your bitch ass up!
And so I just really want to address that, for people who are watching this live and watching the replay, for those who have like a weird agenda towards me too when it comes to with that, even though I'm a very genuine and transparent person who doesn't want to start nothing, cause chaos or drama or anything like that. I don't want to do that. So again, I just really want to, protect myself, but also hold space for the people who support me and I support them back too when it comes to with that. And even like if people want to experience financial freedom, regulating their nervous system, staying hydrated, finding holistic approaches to self-care, personal growth, and spirituality and all that too, feel free to reach out to me. I am just an email, a text, or even just like a DM on the social media too. I really want to help people on their financial journey, on their, wellness journey too, when it comes to with life. And, if you want to, just want to go on down on that path too, if you choose to do so, I'll be there for you guys too, 100% of the way. So I just really want to address that for people who are watching this live and for those who are watching a replay too when it comes to with that. If you guys like what I talked about too when it comes to with this podcast, feel free to smash the like button. I really do, appreciate that too. Any kind of support too on my channel really helps too. You guys know what to do when it comes to with that. So again, without further ado, when it comes to with that, and it's like a powerful affirmation before I wrap things up too, and I always say this too, if people have a problem with you for really just being genuine and transparent and really just caring for who you are, just always remember this mantra.
People don't like how you be yourself. Fuck them. Fuck them up against the wall. Wear handcuffs on them and crazy through on their lips. That's all you do.
That's all you do, And you know what? Make a promise to yourself to really just bring in that loving presence and that intimacy towards your nervous system, towards your subtle body, towards the people that you care about, family, friends, and your environment too when it comes to that. Kind of like how this guy does it.
And that is a promise.
So anyways, happy Valentine's Day to all the, awesome people out there who are, watching this and, who are watching this live and watching the replay. And it's nothing gay or anything, just saying that too, because I'm comfortable within my own masculinity. I love women and, I hate bullshit, and when it comes to that from, anybody too, whether they're a man or a woman, I hate bullshit. And so anyways, I just really want to put that out there too for anyone who's just watching this too. So, but anyways, you guys have a beautiful rest of your, Valentine's Day weekend. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, when it comes to with your partners, your family, your friends, your environment. And I'll probably see you guys probably like in March too, if I'm doing another podcast with the guests too, or anything when it comes to with that. And if you guys ever want to, need support on your wellness journey or financial journey or anything like that too, feel free to reach out to me. I'm just an email, a text, a DM away too on social media. Or if you want to just check out my links as well on social media and reach out to me and so on and so forth too. You know where to find me on my links too when it comes to with that. Even on my website as well too. Just feel free to reach out. Just a email or DM and email, a text away too when it comes to with that. So you guys take care. Much love. Happy Valentine's Day and many blessings.